Formulas. We love them. Well, not the math kind. No, that's not my jam. But today I'm talking about formulas for card making. The good news is you probably have all three categories at your disposal right with you. Well, maybe not with you right now, but in your craft stash today. I'm going to show you this simple formula, and even though the card takes way longer than it should, trust me, it's going to be much simpler for you. To see this card formula and how it can help you get out of a funk, stick around. That video is coming up next. Here's a look at the two products I'm going to use today for sharing a card formula that is really solid and will work, well, with any floral or greeting that you might have. I have this set here. This is called Thank You Basics. I designed this, and there is this little die set, but any floral die set will work. This is called Pretty Poppies. There are coordinating dies for these, but I do not have them at this time. So hopefully this shows you that even without coordinating dies, you can still make a beautiful card if you follow the formula. Now, before we get really into it, I recently picked up a large color wheel that looks like this, and there's also a smaller one. I'm kind of a fan of the babies, so I ordered this and it arrived. Both sides have different information on the back, but they're all the same idea. They help with picking colors. The reason I like a color wheel when I am working is because if there's something I want to design that's going to have beautiful color harmony, the color wheel is going to help me do just that. So for today's card, let me show you these dies. I'm going to get some things cut off camera. And in here we have the blooms for building, and we have the stems and the center. So it's a really simple die set. And I do love that they come with this sort of picture so you can, well, I mean, oftentimes I will just copy exactly what I see on packaging when I first get something. But I think what I'm going to start with is actually just taking something in more of the pink tones, right? And I'm going to ink blend onto that. The cool thing is when you look at pink or red, which if you add white to red, that is called a tint. And a tint is always going to be a lighter version of the red. And that gives us our pinks. So oftentimes when I do rainbow projects, I omit red, but I'm not really omitting red. I'm actually just using pinks, which are tints of red. And if you look straight across, that's where you get your greens, and that is complementary color. So if I look straight across the wheel from here to here, that's a complementary color, high contrast. So florals like this with their green stems, nature knows what she's doing. So let me get some die cuts and we'll start ink blending and talk about the formula. I'm going to speed this part up and just do a quick voiceover because the focus of this video is not really on ink blending florals, but I do have all my pieces cut here for each of the flowers, and I will just bring the pink pieces in, add some guava ink and blend that on. We'll just speed that up so that I can get this sort of look going, even though my background is not the yellow. All right, let's get started. One of the things I love to do is take colored cardstock and use that as my base instead of starting with white. This is actually pretty new for me. I only started doing this in earnest in the last few years, but it really does save time. And of course, what I'm doing is very monochromatic, and whenever you work with one color, you're probably not going to mess it up. And that's why I do it. It's one of my favorite ways to ensure that color actually ends up looking exactly how I want it. So here, all I'm doing is taking the guava, making that little base part of the flower that kind of holds it all together in the darkest tone. And once everything's blended, I'll just glue together my blooms with a little liquid glue. This is Connect Glue from Gina K Designs. And get those brown centers placed. That is nutmeg cardstock, by the way, from Concord and Ninth. So I just kind of picked the colors that would work well with this project. And once everything gets together, then we can start applying the rest of the formula. Again, any flowers will work. I know we have things in our stashes, die-cut flowers, stamps, even pretty pattern papers that you could cut a bloom out from and do this with. So look through your stash and see what you might have that you could attempt this formula at home. All right, we're gluing and it's looking good. Get this last one put together. And I'm not putting the stems on just yet because until I get to the point where I know what the design is going to look like, sometimes I just let it roll. But the blooms are done, and now we can proceed. So now I have my 3 blooms and stems. I'm not going to glue the stems on just yet because now it's time to go into the formula, which is a little blend, a little bloom, and a little band. Let's get started with the little blend. I've got a piece of cardstock here. This is 3 3/4 by 5, which is a panel size that I use a lot. I'm just going to seal it down here so the grip mat will hold it in place. Now for my color, I am not going to use the same color here that I ink blended to add that depth. I am going to use the lightest pink that I have, and that is Pink Lemonade. But here's the thing. What we want to do is we want to imagine that we have a flower in place. And I want to have the first part of the formula, a little blend, right at the top here. So here's what you're going to do. Take your brush, and I have also pre-wiped my brush off for whatever was on here last time. I don't have a separate brush for every color. I basically have a couple different sets of brushes that I use, but I just rubbed this against some paper towel to get it completely, mostly clean. And now I'm loading up the Pink Lemonade. But the key to soft blends is tapping off first. So I have this slick surface, right? So it's really great because then I can come back and pick it up, but you can tap off onto a piece of cardstock as well. The whole point is you don't want to come in hot with the blotch, right? We don't want blotches. We don't want little blotches. We want little blends. So I'm going to start right in the center with a feather light touch. I am not adding much pressure. I mean, a little. Okay, there's a little pressure here, but I'm just starting in the center right here. And at first, you don't really see much. You can kind of make it out. That is exactly what you want. You can always build up ink. It's just harder to take it away. But part of the purpose of this is also to avoid the edges so that you just have this glowy background for your blooms. That's the little blend. When I first started making cards, I was not good at this. It takes practice. But remember, it's just paper. And I actually can show you, I started this, and I had to cut the filming. I started this on the back side of this piece, or actually not on the back side of this piece. I started it on a different piece, and I was too low on my blend. So I thought, you know what? It's only paper. Let's reshoot that. So that's what we're doing. See how that looks like a glowing, soft, puffy ball of, well, cotton candy? All right. And then I'm just going to lightly build it out a little bit without going to the edges. So it just sort of fades into nothingness. And that's our little blend. Here's a little tip for you. If you're ever stuck and you don't know what to do, and you're like, I want to be crafty with my inks and my brushes, sit down and practice blends. You may never do anything with them, but practice different ways of blending and see what you think. Go this way, go that way, until you can get a soft, glowy blend. And actually looking at this, it'd be really cute if I could draw a little, what are those flowers called? You know, the ones that, dandelions. It'd be a cute puffy dandelion at stamped right in the middle. Well, anyway, there you go. Okay, so that's the little blend. And now we have our little blooms. Now, I don't think I'm going to use all 3 for this design, but this will give you an idea of, you know, well, let's flip it right side up. These are very delicate. This will give you an idea of what this is going to look like. I can cut these down as well. These don't need to stay this long, but I like the idea that they overlap and that maybe one of them is underneath and down a little lower, something like that. So that's the little blooms. Now I'm just going to make a little band for my greeting for this card. So let me grab some cardstock and we will stamp that out. I'm going to cut my banner using sentiment label dies. I've had these since 2017. They are a workhorse for me. I think it will look cute to have a little matching piece of that brown cardstock. So we're going to do this piece here. And then all I need to do is pick something that would work well as a band or strip sentiment. A little band. Now actually, all the thanks would be really cute because that's so narrow. But I could also just do, I could do many thanks. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of ways I could go, I think I will do, or you could even take a really small sentiment. Don't overlook little greetings on sets because they can look really pretty too, but I think I will do, or just thank you. Gosh, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to stamp a couple. One thing I love to do is stamp multiples, and then I have some ideas, and then I can change my mind. I think that's a lot that we can fit on there. Oftentimes when I'm creating cards, I do stamp multiple greetings because I'm not sure what's going to look best. And in the case of this formula, and by the way, I'm going to use my little stamp conditioning eraser because these are brand new, and this just removes that initial coating that comes on photopolymer stamps. I will take anti-static powder and just put that onto my cardstock so that only my embossing powder sticks. And I have another grip mat here inside my MISTI. I'll grab my embossing ink. This is just a clear embossing ink, and we'll ink this up. I'm gonna bring that down. Just take my little Stampin' Bud to transfer. Give that a second, and I'll take a look at how oh, that looks really, really good. I don't think I need to stamp that again, so we'll add our powder. And I'm just going to add white powder for this particular card. Gold would be pretty on here too, but I think the white will be just fine. This is Brutus Monroe Alabaster. And you can see most of that excess powder falls away because we used the anti-static powder. If your embossing powder sticks all over your cardstock, you might live in a more humid place, or you might be more oily. I'm definitely more oily in my hands. That's why we put the powder down, so that this looks cleaner. Okay. All right, those are just poppin' white. And as soon as this is completely cool, I will just buff off that extra anti-static powder, and then we'll get the bands ready to cut these out. I actually just wanted to show you, once it's cool, you can just go over your cardstock, and if you still see some of that powder, that's where you can take your hands, because of the natural oils, and it kind of just restores the cardstock back to its original color. You don't want to touch like that when you're getting ready to add your powder, but after the fact, handle it all you like. And now I am going to line, I'm just going to do them all at once. So we're going to do this little guy here. And even though my mat is magnetic, I do find that once your mat gets a little older with a lot of cuts, and I do cut directly into my mat, it doesn't hold things quite as well, and that's pretty normal. I think this one will look, I don't think I can go smaller with this, but let's try it. Let's see. I never know until, oh, I don't know. That's not bad. I actually kind of like the smaller with that. All right, let's see. Yeah, I kind of like that. So I'm gonna just tape those right there. And maybe on the other side too. I want it to stay straight. I can't tell right now if I'm straight or not. Sometimes if I just look on the computer monitor when I'm filming my videos, it works great. And now thank you, because this has what's called a descender, that dips down. That's the part of the letter that dips below what is called the baseline. You're gonna have to center that a little differently. I think this is gonna be too big. But we're going to try it anyway and see. That's where the coordinating dies are so nice with something like this. But I tell you, using a little band, it's a great formula and it works. And now I have 3 bands, and I love this little magnet tool just for lifting up my dies. Here's band 1. Okay. It actually looks pretty good. But it might be, well, no, we'll see. Here comes band 2, little strip sentiment, tiny, tiny. And, oh, that could be really cute too. There's that. And the last but not least, the big bad boy, which still is cute, but I think it's too big and I cut it off a little. However, keep in mind, keep your strips. Like if you make a bunch at once, stick them in a little dish, because you never know when you're working on a card and you think, wait a minute, I have something that would work great with that. Keep a dish of sentiments. All right, let's figure out which of these two is going to work. For a little bit of color repetition, I cut a piece of cotton candy. This is 11 inches by 4 1/4, and I'm scoring it right there at 5 1/2. Now, this will look really nice as the base because it matches the cardstock that I used for the florals. Let's give that a nice press with my Teflon bone folder, and I'm going to tape this closed just so it stays flat. I don't like the pop-ups. Okay, let me add some foam tape to the back here so that I can pop this up on the panel. I put some wide 1-inch tape on the back, and this will give it a nice bit of pop from the card base. Forgive my head if it gets in the way. I just want to see my margins nice and clear. Oh gosh, Cathy, there you go. There we go. All the way around. I guess it's about 1/4 inch. And now I can arrange my flowers again. I don't think I need to pop these up because I think they're going to be pretty just as is, but I will pop up my greeting. Now here, again, I could cut some of this down a bit, but I'm going to put that up right now. No, I want it to curve the other way. There we go. There we go. Or do I want this one? Yes, I do. I'm going to go with the shorter one so that it curves that way. But this guy is actually going to go underneath. So I probably should figure that one out first. But let's just imagine that we're figuring this all out. And that looks beautiful. Now, it's hard when I could glue them. Well, we'll see. Now we look at either having a little thank you where they cross or a little all the thanks. And actually, you know what'd be really cute with this? It'd be really cute to cut this band apart for all the thanks. Let me glue the flowers in place first. I do this a lot with this little trimmer, is I make that letter go just over to the right of that little plastic bar, flip it, and do the same on the other side. I could have notched these two with the notch, but I just wanted to keep this pretty simple. And then here, just where it crosses, a little thank you. How simple is that, right? Actually really like that. Or I can take this and I can cut these all apart. Now here, I'm going to want to go closer because I'm splitting the difference in these letters or in this sentence that wasn't necessarily designed to be spaced apart. But you can always take your bands and cut them up. Flip it over and do that. Okay, find them. There we go. And then that could actually be stacked, which is really cute on the card. So we have a choice. We could do that or we could do all the thanks. Let me glue my flowers down first. This still has to go up a little higher, like that. Okay. And there are the blooms. Now we bring in foam squares before we decide what we're going to do. So let's take this friend and I will pick up half a guy here, like that. And I'm going to cut a half a guy over here. And here's, well, this is really the formula, isn't it? Look, this is a little band. How cute is that? It's so simple. I do feel like you could put more on here, and I'll probably add a few sequins, but that's idea one. And then let's imagine that we are going to take this band and put this on and go all, and this could tilt the thanks. You know, that's kind of cute too. It still might be a little big for this. What if I kind of cascaded it down and the was on it? You could do all the thanks like that too. That's a cute design too. So let me pop on to see. Without the dimension, it's kind of hard for me to envision how it looks. So we go here, all. And what if the was just underneath? Oh, Cathy, this is so cute. Again, a little band, cut it up. There's your formula. So I don't know how many of you, have, like, you're sitting around and you've got all these cute little, guys, right? These little strips that you could turn into bands for your card. I like this, but I'm not sure if this is the right placement for the foam square. So hold on here. I'm going to commit to this because I really like it. So we're going to start with the thanks, and I will add a little liquid glue to these little guys just so I know they're straight. Oh, there we go. That was way too much glue, but that's fine. I'll bring in my T-square. And this is nice for just making sure things are straight. And I'm going to slide this right out of the way for now so that when I place it, there we go, right there, right? Is that straight? Come on up. There we go. Thanks. This could actually come over a little bit. This is why we like liquid, because it gives you just a second to commit before you place. So there's thanks. I'm going to let that adhere. Then my little the is going to tuck there, and my little all. Well, shoot, maybe this does need to come down a little. There we go. That's all right. Get that off there. There's a little glue. This is supposed to be an easy formula, but you gotta trust me. It's gonna work. See, you just get that glue off right there. How cute would it be just to say the thanks? Like the menu, like the movie, all thanks, or all thanks. Oh my gosh, I kind of love this so much. Just with the thanks. Is that weird? Anyway, I do think it's really cute. So let's see. All the. That's what we need. It doesn't even need to be popped up. It's just going to be placed. I do think the thanks is really cute. Okay, let's hold that and let's just get it in here like this. Hold it, and then the is going to just tuck under. And that's my card. Now here's the thing. It is a formula. Little blend, little bloom, little band. Did I get a little carried away with my little band? I did. Tilt that a little more. I'm gonna bring that in like that. But I think it's really cute. All, I want the all to be fully legible. Get under there. Come on now, come on. Under, under, under. You're not getting under. There we go. All the thanks. I'm going to put a brick on it. Let that adhere. We'll finish this off with some sequins. I'm going to finish off this card with 5 sequins. These are the Sparkle All the Way, just a neutral shine. And we'll just pop these down. Now here's the thing. Boop. This card would have looked really cute with a little spatter, boop, or splatter, whatever floats your boat. Boop, maybe in like a brown ink or even a pink on the background panel. But boop, the idea is to have a formula, boop, that is so easy to follow. So, little blend, little bloom, little bands. This can be done with any floral, whether you have a die cut, whether you have a stamp. Bands can be used as strips themselves, right? Just with something really simple that fits proportionately. The reason I needed to cut this up is I wanted it to have more of a proportional fit. In fact, let's do a quick design review, shall we? Even though this video went a little longer than I thought it would, what we have here is a nice amount of open space, and we have white cardstock, so white space and open space. We also have a nice little framing margin around the edge holding everything together. We have repetition with our pink cardstocks here and here, and repeating elements in the style and design of the flower. We're also repeating the same brown cardstock color here to pull in the brown centers as well. And of course, we have white embossed greetings, which pick up the white cardstock here. And of course, these 3 shapes, our band that was cut apart, all has the same depth and style of type. And we have 5 shiny sequins to bring it all together. And that's the finished card, the simple formula, little blend, little bloom, little band. And that's the finished card for today. I'll have links in the YouTube description box to the supply list and the blog post if you'd like to see more photos. But I encourage you to dig through your stash and see how you can put this formula to work with your things today. Had to pull the hair up. Can't make cards with my hair down. So hopefully this formula can get you unstuck, or when you're looking for ideas, that's one to try. A little blend, a little bloom, and a little band. If you like learning more about design, check out the video that I have linked here, and I will see you in that video. Also, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, I'd love to have you, so hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you back here with another card project soon.